How good was AL Cy Young Award winner Corey Kluber down the stretch? In his final 3 starts of the year, he struck out 14, and then 11 batters, and single-handedly trying to lift the Tribe to that second wild-card spot in the American League. And, of course, Cleveland fell short. But Indians fans were witness to an MVP-caliber season from Michael Brantley and the second successful campaign under manager Terry Francona. I'll look back now at the Indians' 2014 season.
20 years of opening days at this beautiful ballpark here in downtown Cleveland. The Indians win their opener 7-2 here at Progressive Field.
They have a terrific offense with Chisenhall and Brantley emerging.
Chisenhall hits his 3rd home run. 9 RBIs. What a night for Chisenhall. It's another home run for Carlos Santana. His 5th home run in this series.
The Indians are closer to 500. Are they buyers or sellers? Where do they stand?
They're a team I'm going to watch very, very closely.
The Indians trade Justin Masterson to the St. Louis Cardinals.
As Drupal Cabrera sent to the Washington Nationals for a pretty good prospect.
Because of the youth in this rotation, that the Indians have some pretty good arms to build on for the future.
No player in the big leagues had a better average with runners in scoring position than the versatile Michael Brantley for Terry Francona and the Cleveland Indians. What a breakout year for the outfielder. He became a slugger. He hit 20 home runs, driving in 97.
We feel like we can make a case for Michael Brantley as the most valuable player in the American League.
Brantley with a drive, deep down the right field line. Gone, and the Indians win it.
Michael Brantley and Corey Kluber are twins, and the way in which they go about their work.
This year, Corey Kluber has supplanted himself at the top of aces in the American League.
He's putting the Cleveland Indians on his shoulder and saying, hey, jump on my back. I'm going to help take you to his playoff push.
Strikeout machine. 60 strikeouts in the month of May.
A complete game masterpiece.
A special season for Corey Kluber.
11 strikeouts for Kluber. You couldn't script it any better than this. Making his final statement in what could be a Cy Young season.
4th Indians pitcher to win the American League Cy Young Award, Corey Kluber.
That's right.
Well, he gets
up,
fired
buddy.
up, too, doesn't he?
He just won his Cy Young. Which is probably why the guy was so successful. I mean, because he barely has a pulse out there on the hill. But Dan and Joel, let me start with you, Dan. I mean, can they expect Kluber and Brantley to have those kind of seasons again?
I'm buying, friend. I'm going to tell you, this is the team that right now, danger lurking in the AL Central, the Indians. I'm buying because I really liked what I saw the last 2 months out of their starting rotation. Kluber was terrific, deserved to win the Cy Young. Danny Salazar was a different pitcher the last 6 weeks of the season. And look what looked like a lot of question marks around June and July in that starting rotation. There are a lot of positives. Trevor Bauer, former first-round draft pick of the Diamondbacks, he started to settle in right now. There are some good things happening in Cleveland right now. Right now, they are my surprise team. Danger lurking for the Cleveland Indians.
And what about Brantley? I mean, Joel, is this guy a superstar on the rise?
Well, I'll say this, is you never talk to an Indian official, whether it's Terry Francona, their manager, Chris Antonetti, whoever, who doesn't start with what kind of people those two guys are, Kluber and Brantley, and their work ethic. So if you were going to gamble on people being good moving forward, you would want those two things beyond the obvious skill. And when it comes to Brantley, they knew since they got him for CC Sabathia, he was a good hitter. Good contact, didn't strike out a lot, could play defense. The question was, as he got bigger and stronger, got to know the pitchers, would power come? Well, he went from 10 homers in 2013 to 20 homers last year. The Indians think there's even more power in there.
And he didn't really slump at all last season. He was very consistent, had a great year. And so, of course, I mean, Kluber had a great year. Brantley had a great year. There were a couple of guys, though, Joel, who fell off a little bit, and Kipnis being one of them, and he was kind of their breakout star in 2013. Also, Nick Swisher, need to get him back to help Cleveland actually make that push. Do you expect those guys to have bounce-back years?
Well, the Indians expect that Kipnis, maybe he's not as good as 2013 Kipnis, but that if it's someplace between 2012 and 2013, that's still an above-average player. They think Michael Bourne is a guy who will help what was not a very good defense, play center field. They're pretty sure about those guys. Nick Swisher had surgery on both knees. The word is good they're getting from their medical people, but it's enough of a worry that it's a worry.
You know, the big disappointment to me, and because of health reason, has been Michael Bourne. He was brought in for one reason. reason. Give them a dimension, stealing bases. And he's had some hamstring issues for almost 2 years now with the Cleveland Indians. If healthy, he brings an entirely different dimension and a much-needed dimension for the Tribe. But to me, the key is Jason Kipnis, all-star caliber type, second baseman. If he's healthy, he can hit, he can drive in runs.
And you mentioned it just a little bit earlier. They got a lot of young pitchers here. They're starting
quality
rotation.
and good arms.
Salazar and also Bauer, who's kind of been up and down. And then also they got the youngster Carrasco. But look, you think these guys actually could be a formidable rotation?
There's no question. There's no question. 1 year through this circuit now, and this is going to be a better Cleveland Indians rotation. And I'm buying their manager, Terry Francona, too. I wasn't quite sure when he took this. I thought maybe he was biting off a little bit more than he could chew, coming off a great stint there with the Boston Red Sox. Terry Francona is one of the game's top managers. These players are starting to buy in. I can't wait to get to Arizona in spring training. We do the 30 teams in 30 days. This is one camp I want to go watch. I want to go see the Tribe. They're up and coming.
That's the young, nasty arms.
Yeah, Dan, amen. They had a 2.95 ERA, that rotation in the second half. It was the best in the AL, second best to the Nationals in the whole sport. And they are a team that played behind a pretty bad defense played behind it. So to have a 2.95 ERA when you're not getting as many balls fielded as other teams, that's why Michael Bourne is so important going into center field to maybe pick up some defense there. They strike out a ton of guys, and I'll just say this for an entire pitching staff. They had more innings thrown by guys 28 and younger than any team except the Marlins. They're all coming back. That is a good sign for the future.
What about the left side of their infield there? Lonnie Chisenhall cooled off a little bit in the second half.
He needs to find it where he can play like 60 games in Arlington. Remember that big game in Arlington? Listen, I mean, it's always a concern. I think anytime you're a general manager, you're Terry Francona, you're hoping for a lot of things. You're hoping and wishing that things would be better. Listen, would they like the left side to be a little bit more consistent and a little bit more productive? Yes. But if that starting pitching is what it looked like it could be in 2014, it will take the pressure off.
Also, Joel, at shortstop, I mean, they like Ramirez's glove. The bat, though, still needs to grow a little bit.
Yeah, and look, they have the prospect Francisco Lindor sitting close to the major leagues. He's probably ultimately going to be their shortstop. But don't underplay it. Again, I go back to the defense. The defensive metrics for this team were so much better in the second half than they were in the first half. And you'll never hear the Indians say it out loud, but Asdrubal Cabrera probably played himself off a shortstop. He's probably a second baseman like he was in Washington. And when they put Jose Ramirez at shortstop, that helped clean up some infield problems.
Do they make the postseason next year?
Let me tell you why I like them. We're always talking about, like, who's leaving, who's coming. This is a team not losing anything close to a significant free agent. Their most important one, Jason Giambi. Their continuity here, continuity in the front office, continuity in the manager's seat, a lot of guys between the ages of 22 and 28. I like a team like that.
They're the 2015 version of the 2014 Kansas City
Royals.
I knew you were going to say that. You heard it here first.